Is the fan disturbing you?
Sorry, no, I can't hear it. Okay, and we are live on Facebook. And all right, so we've got Ruchita with us. Ruchita, I can't see you. I think,
I'm sorry.
yeah, all right. Okay, so yeah, so this is our mini live series. We're actually concising all our topics into smaller parts as we
Yes.
work with children. And we've got Ruchita Parekh with us here. She's earned her master's in physiotherapy in musculoskeletal sciences, sorry. And she's a consulting musculoskeletal physiotherapist at Vashi, Navi Mumbai. And hi, Ruchita.
Hi, Edwina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, good, good.
Yes, so we are going to discuss posture. I think the moment I envisioned this topic till today, every time I speak with you, I have to be, you know, upright. So yeah, so to begin with, I think we are addressing three questions today. So we'll quickly go to our first question. Is so basically, what is posture, and what is the importance of it for our children, and for the future implications of having good posture.
Okay, so first of all, a very warm welcome to everybody who is on Facebook and who is watching us. And thank you for devoting your Sunday afternoon for this wonderful session. So let us come to the back to the topic. What is posture? So very simply put, posture is the way in which we stand or in which we sit or lie down. It is basically the way in which we hold our body during any activity. Now, obviously, when we hold our body, there are certain muscles which are used. There are our joints are placed in a certain way, and depending on how our different body segments are aligned with respect to each other, either our posture can be a good posture or a bad posture.
All right.
Now, so Edwina, is it okay if I just share a few pictures?
Oh, I'm sure. I think that will be very important for our viewers too to see this visually in terms of posture. Yes.
Okay, so just give me a minute. So is is the picture visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right. So let's first talk about good posture. So when we say, okay, this person is in a good posture or maintain good posture, what do we actually mean by it? So in simple terms, good posture is when you have equal weight distribution on the left and the right side of your body. Your spine is erect. Your spine curves are normally placed. Like you can see here, the alignment between the ear, shoulder, hip, knee, and ankle is almost in one straight line. There is no chin poking out of your body. There is no hunching at your spine. Normally, such an in such a posture, a person is actually at ease. A person is less fatigued and feels more confident. So, in short, a good posture is when you feel good, when you are held upright and straight. That could be classified as a good posture. Now, on the other hand, let's talk about a bad posture. Uh, Completely opposite of a good posture is a bad posture. So, when you do not have equal weight distribution on the left and the right side of your body, when your spine is not maintaining its normal curvatures and rather shows this hunched or this slouched appearance, or has
Right.
something known as a forward head posture, where the chin is way ahead of the body and not falling in line, where your ear and your shoulders again don't fall in line. Your ears are way ahead of your body. The alignment between your ear, shoulder, hip, knee, and ankle is lost. When you in general look tired, look fatigued, you do not maintain your body alignment, is when you are actually said to be in a bad posture. And
All
in
right.
general, people in a bad posture normally have poor confidence, look tired all the time. So yes, this was just describing what is good and bad posture.
So I think looking at the little boy in blue.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think this is something that I have seen in a lot of our sessions when children are online. I think they tend to come forward, or act like right now when I'm also trying to look at it, I'm conscious of keeping my shoulders upright and all of that. But yeah, I have noticed this particular thing where you lean forward towards the screen,
Exactly.
which is probably, I don't know if that's like a increased incidence because of online learning. So I think from this, moving on to that question directly, that this online learning, now that we've moved from a classroom setup to an online setup, how do you think this, what are the implications of now moving online, and children being at home, and how does that impact?
So before I go on to that topic, I'll just quickly brush on how does bad posture affect us, and then I'll clearly move on to the fact that what are the implications of these home learning,
Online.
online learning. Okay.
Uh,
So let me just quickly go through this. Why is a bad posture basically bad? What is so bad about it? Apart from the fact that it doesn't look one bit good, you clearly have a lot of effects of bad posture on your body overall. The first and foremost being a malaligned spine. Your curvatures are not normal, and normally kids develop something known as a postural kyphosis. So, a postural kyphosis is simply a hunched spine which is now got fixed in that hunched position. Or kids might also develop something known as a scoliosis. Now, normally, when you look at your spine from behind, it is a straight column. But in scoliosis, this column is a bit curved to either the left side or the right side. So this is no longer straight. Your spine either tends to the right or it now tends to the left. And scoliosis is typically when you tend to sit asymmetrically. You tend to put more weight on one buttock, or you tend to place your workstation that everything is on one side. And basically, you prefer things to be on one side as compared to the other. This hunched posture not only looks bad, but it also reduces the space available for your lungs to expand, and it leads to a poor lung function. It also compresses the abdominal organs, and it doesn't allow your digestion to happen properly. A lot of kids complain of constipation who are being in a bad posture for a brief period of time.
okay.
Uh, the other common complaint is when kids complain of body pains. This is not new to everybody who's watching this. A lot of kids and adults in bad posture complain of body pains and neck pains and back pains and shoulder and wrist pains. But what is surprising is a good number of children also present with headaches and jaw pain, and this is particularly when kids are in front of either their phones, their laptops, or their iPads, and they are in this typical chin out posture where their chin is out and their neck is ahead. Their chin isn't much ahead of their body, which I refer to as the forward head posture. And this typically compresses the muscles and the nerves at the back of your skull over here and gives this constant headache. Overall, everything said and done, a bad looking posture, a poorly functioning body, a painful body, not only is tired easily, but also over a period of time it causes poor confidence in kids. It reduces their self esteem, and then start the whole new set of problems.
Okay. So I think coming back to the question about that was very insightful, that we got a visual impression of how this is an implication for your future, and these young children with their growing bodies would experience. So yes, coming back to our current situation that we are in, and it's inevitable, we have to learn online.
True.
What do you think is different from a classroom setup versus an online setup? What do you think? How is it changed? What is it that you typically see at your clinic or in your sessions?
So I think I believe even you must be facing the same issue. First of all, there is no discipline, come what may. Kids are in unfortunately not clothed appropriately for for a learning session. That's the first thing that we see. And I believe we all must have come through this video which is circulating, where a lot of teachers are really tired of kids being in any and every posture during their sessions. Some kids are lying on the bed and listening to the lecture, some kids are on the floor, some kids are sitting and eating and still listening to the lecture. In every possible posture, kids are in the online session. So mostly we have teachers who are complaining that what can be said to parents so that this is a bit more better, like how can kids sit a bit more better so that their concentration is better and the learning is effectively much more.
Correct. So I think what I feel you're beginning with is one, discipline. I think
Exactly.
it's very unstructured, it's very informal, which in a way, besides being informal and very casual, it also has certain implications for the body.
Yeah. And our ancestors very rightly said that, we have to sit up straight, we have to function in a correct posture. But somewhere along the line, we have maybe forgotten that, or because of digital technology and technology which is in our hands, available all the time, we are so used to adopt just adjusting our bodies to that particular small phone, and we don't realize how our body is placed and where it is placed. So for all home-based learning sessions, we do have certain guidelines which could be followed. Yes, they are not rigid guidelines. They have their own space where you can work on it. But this is just a skeletal blueprint that if you could work on this, it would definitely be good for your child. And what we see is, as children are small, their bones are really soft, they are really malleable. And at such young age, when they are sustaining such poor postures for a long period of time, they have these permanent skeletal changes, and these can lead to early deformities. So it is best that we start teaching them from a young and tender age so that they can cultivate the habit further.
Correct. So I've also noticed in a lot of our sessions we're like this, or yes, I think we were. I think that forward, the one thing that stayed with me from your first set of pictures is this forward
Forward.
slouch, which which
Yeah.
which is very common for, especially if it's not a writing based, or not if it's a listening based or a video based session. I think writing and all, probably it's not so much like this because you're more on your table. But yes, we have also noticed children sitting on a bed, children sitting. Also, sometimes we as professionals are also considering the lack of space,
Okay.
because we can't assume that there's always that separate room available for a child to learn.
Hmm.
So yeah, so we do consider all of that. But yes, on a bed also, I think there is a certain way in which you can sit um, to prevent it. So I think, yes, largely for parents who are listening and therapists, I think get in a little more of structure, a little more, reduce the casual attitude. I think start with telling your parents clothing, like how Ruchita said. Of course, that's not related to posture, but that still makes it a very formal
Session.
session.
Yeah.
And we're also then focused on a little more formal learning. So I think largely a lot of teachers and would resonate with what we just spoke about. And yes, I think I'm sure there are ways to work around this, even if you're using a sofa or a dining table or your child's table, because we wouldn't expect everybody to have kid-sized tables.
Exactly.
So, have there been any increase in the number of do more children are you seeing more children in this situation? The neck
So
pain.
yeah, sorry, continue.
No, yeah, that was it.
So we do have a lot of parents complaining. Unfortunately, nobody's coming because of the current health scenario. But we do have a lot of online consults where parents do put their issues in front of us and tell that, okay, my child is having this issue or my child is having that issue. Or for that matter, we have a lot of parents who are now in pain because a lot of work from home culture has begun.
Yeah.
And one of the most important part of this session is, yes, the target audience is children, of course, but the bigger target audience is parents. Because unless we expect parents to follow the posture norms, unless we expect them to follow these guidelines in at least in some part, none of the kids are going to do it. A kid always mimics his mother or his father. So yes, it begins from the parents and it then follows down to the children.
I think somewhere teaching by example is
Exactly,
that
exactly.
that that piece of missing puzzle that we have, considering our parents are also working from home.
Yes.
And I think through this session, I'm also constantly, I think I keep noticing myself like, "Ooh, I think you're because I can see myself on the screen and I
On the
keep,
screen, yeah.
yeah, I keep moving around. And I think it shouldn't last only for this session and keep going through all of our sessions. So actually, what comes to my mind with this is, besides children and parents and setting that example, I think it's also very imperative for teachers who are
Yes,
doing 3 and 4 sessions a day, because schools are following WHO guidelines, largely having children for a lesser time in front of the screen.
hmm.
But teachers, I think, are much longer.
Yes,
So it just comes to mind how it's essential for us too to be conscious of where we sit and how we sit.
that's true. So
Yes.
these guidelines are for you can translate it for children as well as for an adult. But there are certain specific time durations which are very kid dominant. That
Correct.
doesn't mean that adults can't follow these. Adults can more than enough follow these guidelines. But there are a few which right now I'll be just focusing on children for. And
Okay.
for adults, you can always contact either Edwina or you can always contact me, and we would be very happy to help you out.
Yes. So I think moving forward
Yes,
to the main part now, how do we set this right? How can we work around this, considering online learning isn't going away very soon?
yes,
And we're going to have blended classrooms, we're going to have online plus physical. It's uncertain, but one thing certain, that learning has to go on,
yes.
be it school, be it extra sessions, the things I do, sport, anything. So yes, I think moving, could you help us a little bit with a few tips on how do
Sure.
we take
Can
this
I
forward?
again start my screen sharing? It will
Yes, please.
one second. Give me a minute. So let's come to the bigger question. How do we set it right? How do we know what is right and how do we accordingly go for the right posture? So before we do this, let me just introduce a term for everybody. This term is known as ergonomics. Okay. So what basically is ergonomics? Ergonomics is by definition the science of human work. What does it really mean? It is actually a process in which we design the workstation for the individual who is working. So, in our scenario over here, we design the home environment so that our child can learn properly.
Okay.
Now, so that we understand this example a bit more well, we have a child over here who is doing her homework. Now, probably every parent would say, "Oh, she's sitting on a chair, she's sitting on the table. I think she's doing it fine." But we look at it and instinctively we know this is not right. Something is wrong in this picture, because despite the fact that she has a chair and a table, she's still completely hunched over. The distance between her eyes and the desk is extremely less, and she just doesn't look comfortable. So what we need to focus over here is we have to adapt the working conditions for the child and not the opposite. We don't fit the child to the available furniture we have. We have to arrange the furniture according to the height and the dimensions of the child, so that the child is benefited, the child is working well, and their body and their joint is not unnecessarily stressed.
All
So
right.
this comes to the next topic as to how do we make this adjustment? How do we adjust the chair and the table? So first, let us come to how do we adjust the chair. Adjusting the chair is the most important part uh, in the entire guideline. First of all, the chair has to be comfortable. The chair has to be in such a way that the height is adequate. Means that the child's feet should be touching the floor at any given point of time. The chair should have a good backrest so that the lower back and the middle back is adequately supported. It may or may not have an armrest. It is not absolutely mandatory for kids to have an armrest. If it has an armrest, it is well and good. Again, making sure that the elbows are comfortably placed on the armrest in such a way that the angle at the elbow is around 90 to 100 degrees. Again, the angle at the hip and the knee should also be comfortable at 90 to 100 degree. I think my pointer is working over here.
Yes.
Also, make sure that the distance between the back of the knee and the front of the chair seat is a minimum of 5 centimeter. We make sure that this is there so that the structures at the back of the knee don't get compressed when the child is sitting for a prolonged period of time.
Okay.
Also, sometimes it is possible that the chair is ideal in every parameter, but still the child's feet don't reach the floor. In those situations, we can either use a footrest, we can use a carton, anything which will allow the child's foot to be supported, but at the same time ensuring that the angle and the knee and at the angle at the hip don't get
Oh,
compromised.
okay. All right. Ruchi, can you repeat the last line? I think I lost that.
Yeah. So I said, in case there is a chair which fits every criteria, but still the child's feet are dangling and they have not yet supported, you can use a footrest or you can use a empty carton and make sure that the feet are completely supported and ensuring that the angle at the knee and at the hip is still maintained.
So I think this is the one thing that I think is very essential for parents watching this at home, because most often if you're doing it at a dining table, they're adult height. So
Exactly.
I think your tip on is very essential. The tip that you gave, that you could put a stool, you could put a carton, and we have so many cartons lying at home with all the ordering that we do online. So I think that is very uh, an amazing tip that you've given us.
And as well, make sure that the child is comfortable. You can't expect the child to be in this robotic posture all the time. The child has to, yes, be seated comfortably and feel comfortable in the chair. But make sure at no cost that the feet are dangling, because that just puts unnecessary pressure on the lower limbs, that is the legs, and may induce swelling at times in the legs. So make sure that the feet are supported at any given point of time.
So I just have one more thing: is do you recommend fidgeting? I somehow always feel that it's very important that the kids fidget a little. So
Yes.
I let them fidget.
In fact, some amount of fidgeting is normal and should be encouraged. Like I said, our kids are not robots. They are going to feel the need to move. They are going to feel the need to fidget here and there. So yes, allow them to normally fidget. Allow them. They are going to move a bit to their left and a bit to their right. They are going to nobody is going to constantly sit with their back rested, and that's not going to happen. They are going to move a bit ahead and move a bit behind. As long as there is this dynamic posturing, or what we normally call as there is this posture variable, that is good, that is healthy. But just make sure that your child is not adopting a bad posture in this entire variable, and they are not maintaining a particular posture for more than 20 or 30 minutes. That those are two things that we look out for. So don't restrict your children and like, you don't have to move, hilna hi nahi hai tumko. No, those things don't work. Let the child be a child, let them move, but yes, ensure that they are in a good posture. Okay. The next thing we are looking at is the desk height or the table height over here. Again, it should be according to the child's height, which means that the angle at the forearms should be well supported, the elbow should be well supported, the angle at the elbow over here should be around 90 to 100 degrees. And a desk too low will just mean that the child is stooping into the desk, and the desk too high means that there's too much pressure on the shoulders and the neck so that the child can barely reach the desk and is trying to write something. So these two, the chair and the table height, is the first and the most important consideration we need to take. Also, if people are willing to use adjustable chairs and tables, this can actually help, because as your child is growing, they are going to get taller. So instead of making arrangements every time, some people find it convenient to just go for an adjustable furniture. But in case you do not have one, please don't feel that you can't work on your child's posture. You can always work on your posture with whatever you have at home. I also would like to mention the concept of a tilting desk over here. So these are desks where the surface can just come up a bit and tilt in the upward direction. Now, what benefits a tilting desk has is it raises the entire surface so that the material on the surface is now a bit closer to the child. It also provides more support to the forearms and the elbows. So, in case a child is doing something like craft or art or drawing, which is more of a fine motor activity, instead of the child completely bending into the table, this now surface is at a height so the child can still be in a comfortable position and continue their activity. Again, this is not mandatory, these are just suggestions. And in case you don't have a tilting desk, you can always go in for a small inclined wooden slab, which you can just make one small slab. And whenever you feel that your child is doing certain act, is just listening to something or is just reading something on the laptop or the desktop or just doing any drawing, you can just put it on your existing table and make sure your child is more comfortable.
Okay.
So, what happens when we introduce desktops and laptops in this chair and table combination? Um Most commonly, the desktop is at another height and the child is at another height, and we see this odd posturing where the lower back is not supported, the elbow is completely straight instead of being at 90-100 degrees. Or if the laptop is lower, we see that this child is completely hunched and gone into the laptop with a completely odd posture. So how do we actually correct this? So let us just see a few guidelines of how to use a digital device with a chair and table combination. Again, the basics remain the same. You need a good chair, which is adequately supporting the back, which is adequately supporting the hips and the knees, and the feet are supported. You need a desk where your elbows and forearms are supported. The desktop should be placed in such a way that it is at least 50 centimeters from the eye, and the height of the desktop is in such a way that it is at the level of the child's, it's at eye level or slightly below eye level. Do not place laptops which are completely below eye level, because that would just mean that you are looking down and in that forward head posture, hunching into the laptop. So kindly be aware of this particular situation and keep the desktop at or just below eye level. In case you do not have a table which fits these criteria, please feel free to use any books, any cartons, anything which can raise the height of your laptop, so that again you are maintaining the eye and the laptop height. So you are maintaining good posture. The moment this laptop goes down, this girl has to bend into the laptop to just read what is on the laptop. So please feel free to use anything which is at home and raise the height of the laptop. A special mention over here is, in case you are going for this arrangement, make sure that you are using a laptop keyboard and a mouse which is externally connected. Now, why do I say this is because just imagine this girl had to use this laptop. Her her elbows would be completely bent, like the paws of a dog or like a kangaroo, and that would mean that there's too much stress on her wrist. So allow her wrists and her elbows to be supported. Use a keyboard which is externally connected, so she can still see the screen, still save her elbows and her wrist, and still continue her activity. Irvina, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. And I think it's already 5,
Yes.
and of course we started a couple of minutes late, but yeah, I think you can. I think
Can we?
5 minutes more.
Yeah. Can we just take it for 5 more minutes?
Yes, perfect. I
Okay.
I think these are very essential tips, and usually these sessions keep exceeding time, but yes, 5 minutes should be doable.
Thank you so much. The second important part is breaks. We as adults need breaks from our sitting posture every 30 to 40 minutes, and kids definitely need it every 20 to 30 minutes. So I think schools, teachers, parents, whoever is in this entire sphere of online education, everybody who is in this sphere should ensure that their child is taking a break every 20 to 30 minutes. Now, this break can be as simple as the child is getting up and just straightening up, or going for a water break, or going for a washroom break, or just sitting and just straightening their hands above their head, as simple as that. What we also see is, what is beneficial is this posture reversal exercises, where you completely open the spine, you open your hands and keep them behind, so that you are counteracting this sitting flexed posture which you have been in for half an hour. So we encourage such breaks every 20 to 30 minutes for all children, so that they do not land up in this stiff kyphosed posture and their spines are moving all the time. We also don't mind if kids are in this position for some time, if they're just seeing something on a laptop. Although this is not the most ideal position to be in, but a 5 to 10 minute break in this position where your spine is extended is always good to be in. I'm sharing a few exercises here which parents, teachers, schools can just look into. These exercises involve your hands, your legs, your feet, your knees, everything, and they make you move in the forward, backward, sideward direction. And especially, they give you that twist and rotation, which is normally lacking in a sitting posture. So make sure that these are very simple. I'm going to keep the slide on for a few minutes, as well as we're going to keep it in the end. So please go through it. They're very simple, and we urge teachers to make sure that they let their children practice this, as well as we would request teachers so that they organize their schedules in such a way that one is a sitting lecture, the next can be a bit more active lecture, so you can alternate between the sitting and active lectures, so the child is not always sitting. And last but not the least is maintaining an active lifestyle. This holds true for kids and their parents. Please ensure your child gets at least 60 minutes of an activity which raises their heartbeat a bit. Ensure that they sleep and eat well and they hydrate well. And in short, please make sure that they're just happy, and they're kids after all. You can't really confine them. So yes, Edwina, I think I have covered most of my lecture, and I hope I have been of some help to the people watching this session.
So thank you, Ruchita, for this. This was lovely, and to all those who are watching with us, also the part that she mentioned about the image with all the exercises that can be used. I think we can leave it at that when we end. That
Yeah.
will be our last slide for the day. So I think what you can do is you can view this in a landscape mode. So you can just view it like this. You can turn your phone into this mode and then take a screenshot of the slide, because that will be really useful for you as teachers and parents. So that's a really amazing slide. I think I'm going to start adopting these in my session to begin with. So, so I think if you have any more questions for us, you can go on to the Springboard the page. My number is there. Our email address and number is there. So I think if you have any questions, please feel free to send us an email, or I think after our last live session, we had 3-4 questions that came up post the session. So if there's anything that you need from us, I think you can always connect with us for the same.
Thank you, Edwina, for this opportunity, and thank you to all the parents and kids who are watching us. Stay healthy, stay safe, and move more. This is what I'll just tell everybody.
Yes, I think every session that we are conducting, every professional is leaving us with that one talk of physical activity. Please
Please
push.
move. Yeah, please move. Please don't sit a lot. That's what we'll tell.
All right. So I think we'll end at this slide, and this is available for you at the end of this live. You can also watch the live after we complete. It will still be on our page, and please take a screenshot of this as you would need.
All right. Thank you, Edwina.
Thank you, Ruchi.
Bye.
Bye, bye. Take care.
Take care.